5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. The only thing we have to fear is spirit.
Mile 18.
This is Endurance Nation.
Are you tired of just losing your fitness every year? Of getting out there on the open road come springtime and everyone else is still faster than you and you're not making progress? We understand. We created the Outseason program just for you. It's a 14-week protocol for triathletes and gravel cyclists with an opportunity to lock in through your Zwift workouts and focused training to unlock your potential by targeting functional threshold and high VO2 workouts with some endurance on the weekends. We build your fast before you're far. So by the time you get to the spring, you can turn down the fast and start adding some volume when the weather gets nice and unleash your endurance potential. Stop following the same program and hoping you get different results. Head over to endurancenation.us/outseason to get our 14-week program for one low price now. Hi there, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation with a race nutrition primer for you, early season edition as you head into those spring races. My name's Patrick McCran, and I want to make sure that when you do your races, that nutrition doesn't become a problem. For years, my secret weapon on the course was an iron gut. I could eat almost anything and be successful. As time has passed, I've learned that there's actually some things that I need to avoid and other things that help me perform at a higher level. My job here today is to communicate some of that to you so you can go out there and have a great race. And perhaps even for some of you, have the first real operational conversation around race day nutrition that you've had before. It's easy to think about daily nutrition. How do I want to be cleaner? What are the types of foods that I want to eat? How do I create a sustainable, healthy lifestyle? When it comes to talking about racing, we need to think more about Formula One. You think more about what your body's going to be capable of doing and how nutrition supports your race day goals. Having aspirations, having fitness, and having a race execution plan are all great, but they fail in comparison to having a race nutrition plan that actually supports all three of those goals. All three of those elements don't matter. If you have 100% fitness and you don't fuel it, I'm sorry, you're at 50%. If you've got the best race plan ever and you don't actually fuel it to achieve it, never going to make it to the finish line, right? So let's really do the right thing here today and think a little bit about race nutrition, especially early in the season when most of us are not fueling as though we are racing, and turn around the corner here so you can get ready to have a fantastic race. Right, you ready for it? So let's just talk a little bit about the foundations of race nutrition. I'm going to rattle them off for you real quickly. So one is, we have to be really strategic just because this is early season. We've got a limited time. And so almost every single workout should have some component of race nutrition in it. The longer workouts may look more like the fluid and fueling that you would be used to on race day. Even the shorter sessions should have some consistency with that in terms of the timing of the food to make sure that you're 100% ready, okay? Our goal overall here is to create a very simple plan that you can follow. So if it's like do 10 jumping jacks, like say a tiny prayer, then rip open a bag, but only eat half of it and save the other half for later, and then maybe add a little salt in from the shaker in my other pocket. If that's your plan, it may be very effective. I'm not sure what your racing guide may be. It's not going to work because you just can't execute that on race day. It's certainly not with fidelity this early in the season. So simple makes a big, big difference. Number two, nutrition is the fourth discipline. I'm so sorry. Swim, bike, run, eat. Right? That's just the way that it is. You can talk about sleep and the need for recovery, but if you're not actually fueling yourself, you're never going to do enough work to get tired enough. You need to sleep. So just do the work, eat the food, be ready to race. Okay. And then finally, last but not least, just understand that it's going to take a while for you to pull things together because nutrition is what really unlocks your performance. So this will not be your most perfect performance from a nutrition perspective early in the race season. That's fine. It's actually a stepping stone for you. So do the best that you can, because if you can get to 60 or 70% here, then it's all the way up from there. If you only get to 30% because you didn't even try, you didn't even learn anything. You just know, like, I did all those things wrong, which really gives you nowhere to start for the next race. So let's just move yourself a little further down the line. Even if you don't have the great fitness, you can still execute like a pro, as we talk about with our 4 keys of race execution, and you can also fuel like one as well. All right. So first and foremost, let's just be really practical with an early season race. Before we get into the whole protocol, which I will do in a moment, just stop for right now and go take a look at your early season race. What's on the race course? Like, go take a good hard look at it. You need to know, because if there's fuel on the course that you can use, that you're familiar with, that means you can actually start to plan on minimizing what you're carrying because you can take advantage of what's on the course. If the stuff on the course has nothing to do with what you need to put in your body to be successful, which unfortunately is often the case when it comes to sponsorship and priorities that maybe marketing has relative to performance, you may end up having to carry or port everything that you need or putting stuff in special needs bags. Either way, it doesn't really matter. The goal here is just to make sure that you're in a good place overall with your nutrition. And so knowing now sets the tone for the rest of your year. If we need to practice carrying everything, you can start practicing now, which is a lot better than finding out 2 days before that you've got to go buy some kind of a special bag or put on like an extra layer just simply to carry all the food you need because you never paid attention to what was on the website this whole time. All right. So with all of that said, let's move to step 1 here for the whole protocol. All right. Number 1, assess your personal requirements. So inside Endurance Nation, one of the ways that we handle nutrition isn't just saying, what do my friends eat or what did I eat last year? It's like actually doing a sweat test. We have a sweat test protocol, and there's even a sweat test course I think available online for purchase. And the whole point of that sweat test protocol is actually to make sure that you understand how much fluid you lose over the course of an hour so we can extrapolate that out at race effort to understand what's going to happen to you on race day as well. Now, of course, the venue may be different than where you're testing, but it's pretty close, horseshoes and hand grenades, to get us to a good place, as opposed to just randomly guessing, I'm a bottle an hour kind of guy. When over the years, I've learned that I'm actually more of a 2 bottles per hour kind of guy at race load, especially in warmer climates. Knowing that fluid loss is going to help you set the stage for what it is you're going to resume taking or imbibing with your fluid intake. What that means essentially is, depending on your fluid of choice, you're going to be getting a certain amount of calories and sodium with that fluid. So we can take that into account in terms of what we need. So really start by assessing what you need first, right? Okay, so figure out right away, go out there and do that sweat test. And again, we have protocols on our site, or you can Google it online. Do the math off of what it is you're losing. So say you're losing, a pound of water in an hour. I got to replace a pound back, right? So how do I get that pound back into my system? And what does that look like? Pounds or ounces? You can do the math and figure out what you need from a fluid perspective to offset those losses. At the same time, you'll understand the calories associated with your fluid of choice. And then based on lean body mass, you can do some simple calculations to determine, oh my goodness, how much calories do I actually need here inside the space? It's not necessarily how many calories am I burning according to my Garmin watch, in other words. So please don't just follow that metric. It's better than literally nothing, but it's not much better than literally nothing, okay? All right, so when we think about our planning, we want to think about that race intensity. We also want to make sure that we have fuel that we can actually take over the course of the entire event. So if there's something you like, but you've only ever had it for 2 hours, but you're doing a 7-hour event, that's 7 hours of that stuff. Do you need to break it up? Do you need to change? What's the story? We want to think through a little bit of a process of what that looks like. We're also going to need to do some math, because if you've got 7 hours, we need to take that nutrition in, and 1 hour is a bottle and a half. 7 times a bottle and a half is 10 and a half bottles. How are we going to get 10 and a half bottles in your system? At the very least, we want to make sure we get like 7.5 bottles. The last 3 bottles, maybe you can figure it out on course or whatever it is, but we got to be pretty close with these numbers. So your nutrition plan is going to have to take what that hour test tells you, start doing the math and projecting out. You got to lay it all out for you. How many Cliff Bars is that? How many Cliff Blocks is that? How many gels is that? How many scoops of Gatorade Endurance is that? Or Scratch, super fuel, or whatever it is you're taking? Put all those things out so you can literally see it. It's really important to have it out on the table. It really gives you a sense of everything you need to take in to be successful. I find that the visual aspect of it is really powerful for people. It also makes sense to try and figure out where all this is going to go. So if you have it all out on the table, you can start saying, well, this can go in there, and this can go in here, and this goes in my pocket. And you start putting everything away where you want it to be. And then you realize, I still have a couple things left. Now, if you had just started in your kit and grabbed stuff to put it in, you would have thought you took enough. But once you've laid out everything you actually need for race day, start figuring out, you're like, all right. So we definitely want to start working off of that. Okay. Number 3, is that we want to create our race day plan. So the nutrition plan is what we need per hour, but the race day plan is how we're going to execute this on race day, right? Am I going to have a special needs drop section? Am I going to change something with my sodium? And the race day element brings in some of the components of what the actual venue will look like. So if you're going to a colder venue, it's going to change your nutrition plan. If you're going to a warmer venue, probably taking in more fluids than you might otherwise. How's that going to affect your calories? Do you want to offset the additional fluid calories by maybe taking away some of the hard or solid food that you're going to be eating? TBD on what's worked for you in the past, but do understand that race-specific execution has some other elements with it. Another complexity to add on top of that is intensity. Are there key parts of your race that are either going to be super hard, like going uphill for a sustained period of time, hello, ultra running, or are they going to be super challenging for you to fuel on, like say ultra running, but descending where you really can't eat, right? Like if there are components of the race that are going to prevent you from sticking to your natural plan, then we have to account for them and start planning accordingly. So the race side of this, some people save it till a little bit later, but I like to think about it early just so you can start putting through your head, like hour 3 to 4, based on my pacing and my expectation for the course, is going to be optimal fueling time for me, because the first, three up to hour 3 is going to be really hard. And after hour 4 is going to be a nightmare. So I've got a plan that I actually have to take on more calories than I would normally want to in this venue, in this setting, right? Similarly, if you're doing an early season race, like say a 70.3 in Hawaii, and you're going to be out on the run, it's going to be super hot relative to where you're coming from. It's going to be really hard to eat when it's super hot like that. So the fluids are going to be your friend, but you also know that you really got to make sure you get those calories in on the bike, because later on in the day, you're just not going to be doing a great job of fueling yourself. You're going to be running on fumes, literally, because it's that hot out there. Your ability to absorb those calories this early in the season, pretty low, unless you're a rock star, right? Okay. So when we think about our race day plan, I talked a little bit about the nuances of the course, but also plan for contingencies. What's your backup strategy? What happens if you drop your stuff? What happens if you drop a gel or you forget something? What happens if a bottle breaks? What are your plans? These are important things to think through now, because you may not actually run into a problem, but should you're ready for it. One of the things, like Loki here, welcome inside my brain. One of the things I do when I get on a plane is I always figure out where the exit. People say, locate the exit nearest to you. I not only locate the nearest exit to me, I count how many rows it is. So if I need to get up to that exit row, and it's dark, I know I've got to go 7 or 8 rows to get to that exit row. Very simple, right? So similarly with your race execution plan, think about if I drop a bottle, how many calories is that? How can I retrieve those calories in another mechanism? That bottle is actually 3 gels. Good to know. 3 gels plus water, not ideal, but gets me the calories I need. So do some math as you think through these contingencies, okay? The next step here, my friends, is practicing. This is the part that nobody likes, because they're like, I'm not really training that hard right now. Why am I eating and drinking so much? Well, you have to get ready to actually consume. Consuming is as much a skill, as much a habit as actually doing the workouts. You're a rock star, getting up and getting all those master swim sessions, or getting the workouts done, or showing up on time for your Zwift race, or whatever it is. Consistency, you're amazing. Comes to practicing nutrition, and you're like, whatever I have in my pocket, whatever's left in my car, I'll take it and eat it. Yes, it's kind of fun and people laugh about it, but it's not setting you up necessarily for success. And you can increase those odds of success by just practicing in your training. For all we know, this year, your beloved pineapple flavored gels taste terrible to you and are actually causing problems. You won't know until you try it in training, and you can buy new gels, and we can get ourselves into a better place overall. So don't leave these things to chance. Don't put yourself in a position of failure. Actually, just get yourself up set up for success by doing the work now through your practice. You can make small changes and modulations to make sure you're on track. This might even mean cutting out some of that pre-workout nutrition that you may have, like a big breakfast, for example, and actually start a little light on the calories so you can get right into that fueling mode that you would have on race day, because you just can't eat a ton of food for your race. So just go nuts in your gut when you get out there, right? Okay. And then last but not least, I just want to say, as we think about race day itself, stick to the plan. The whole point of this whole exercise is not just to set yourself up for success with the fueling side of things and all of your training, it was actually to execute that plan. I write out my nutrition plan before I go into a race so I can see it and adjust it, rewrite it a couple of times, reprint it, whatever it is. Believe me, totally worth whatever number of pieces of paper you're getting rid of to do it, because it's really helpful to go through it, because it is a system that you're actually operating. Just like you would read a manual of how to operate a brand new lawnmower or snowblower or whatever it is, you would actually be looking at the manual of your nutrition plan to do it this year. It makes a big difference. So when you start getting out there on race day, you don't mess up the counts. I've done it before where I'm like, I'm supposed to, every 15 minutes I do this, and I do this on the hour, and then I forget a 15-minute increment, or I forget that 15 and 45 are when I fuel. Over time, you get better at it, so you know to look. But until you have it down, nothing wrong with writing it on the stem, or writing it on, like a wristband or something, or setting reminders for your watch, so you can actually go through that. Bonus points, if you have a long session or two before this early season race, you can actually put that race execution protocol into play, doing a race simulation, as we talk about here inside the team, and practice that nutrition on top of it. Actually really run through some of those pros and cons, opportunities, problems that we hit with a race simulation. That means by the time you get to race day, you're like, oh my God, I totally messed this up in training, but I'm not going to mess it up now because I know where I'm at. So why does all this matter, right? People say, but nutrition, racing, what's the story here? Great nutrition actually sets the stage and gives you the opportunity to be a better athlete on race day. You can be the best athlete in the world, but if you are just underfueled, or if you were just to go the wrong way on the course, or if you were just like your bike was just to break because you didn't take care of it, or if you didn't train this year, you had an injury, even though you did everything else right. Just like all of those problems that you would consider to be showstoppers, things that would get in the way between you and race day, Bad nutrition does the same thing. The difference is that bad nutrition is something you can completely eliminate by practicing now. It's not the sexy hard work that people like, but if you're keeping your exercise calories near your workouts, you're fairly safe, my friend. I've marked you safe. And we also know that you're going to increase your odds of being successful later in the year. The more you practice your nutrition, the better you get at it. The better you get at it, the more like a habit it becomes. The more like a habit it becomes, the more used to you are physiologically and mentally in terms of taking it. Your consistency gets better. It just unlocks more room. And actually, you'll be surprised that once people have a good race with their nutrition, this is really funny because you know it's a thing. And those of you out there, I want to see you in the comments because you know it. You have a good race with great nutrition. All of a sudden, the rest of your year, you are fueling those workouts like a boss because you realize how much that nutrition matters. I can't tell you how many people I've had who've come and been like, I don't eat calories, or I just drink water, or I inhale big gulps of air and everything is great. And then they have a race and they actually broke down and had to eat a bunch, resurrected, and then finished a great race. And we're like, oh my goodness, I need calories to race. Who knew? Those people fuel like rock stars from then on out because they're like, oh my God, and all the workout performances go up and the race performances get better. It's a huge unlock. So don't leave this stone unturned. Don't just walk by this opportunity to make this whole season better. Take the time to think through your race nutrition. If you need additional help, go to endurancenation.us. You can see a bunch of our guides there. I think the sweat course is there as well, or ask on social media. I'll be happy to send you a link and get you hooked up. And if you're on the team, my friends, my teammates, no excuses for you. You've heard it from me inside the community so far, and you're hearing it again here on social media. I hope it makes a difference for you. I hope you have a fantastic race. Best of luck with your nutrition, and I'll see you at the finish line.
Endurance Nation.
Hey, podcast fans. I know you love the podcast because here you are, you're listening to it and you're still listening to me talk right now. Did you know you can get content just like this in your inbox once a month? We send out a great newsletter. We call it, guess what? The Unfair Advantage. That's right. It's our information to you, something that separates you from the competition. If they're not here, then they don't know. But if you are here, then now you do. Zero excuses. If you go check us out online at endurancenation.us/newsletter, it's your opportunity to enter your email address, sign up for these updates. They come once a month, sometimes twice a month, depending on my race schedule. And it's your chance to get insider information that's going to help you become a better, smarter athlete. Don't miss out on this chance to get ahead of the competition. It doesn't cost you any money, and it's not a ton of work. It's just your email address. That's endurancenation.us/newsletter.
For more information about Endurance Nation, visit us online at endurancenation.us. The provided music is from the Podshow Podsafe Music Network. Check it out at music.podshow.com.